Good night, everyone. I mean, a lot of people use that as a farewell, but thinking about it in today's era, so many people are meeting up at night and saying hello, getting together at night. Why should good night always be a farewell? That's just something I was thinking about, getting ready for tonight's review even, which is cauliflower. Now, initially, upon getting the request for cauliflower, I wasn't that excited about it, to be honest with you. Cauliflower is not something I really cook with that often. It's not something I'm really invested in, but coming up to this review, I was getting more and more excited. I went to get the cauliflower and I saw this amazing thing, a purple cauliflower. I've never seen one before in my life, so I knew that had to be part of this review. Now this obviously is the standard cauliflower with the white head, the white florets, the white bulb, bud, whatever you want to call it. This is the purple one. I mean, they don't come in halves usually. I mean, usually you can buy them in halves, but they don't grow in halves. One thing that is good about having these two here, fortuitous, is that I can show you, when you go to buy a cauliflower, what you want is for all the florets to be nice and tightly packed together. When it starts to get older, that's like how this one is. They're all nicely packed together. But if you look at this purple cauliflower is a bit older, and they're all starting to separate and pull apart like that. They're very loose. That just goes to show you that the cauliflower is getting a bit older. And the other thing that will happen is it will start to get these brown spots. I don't know if you can see, like there. That's how it starts to go, and how you can really tell that the cauliflower is getting old on the purple cauliflower. If you make a habit of going out there and buying purple cauliflower, the spots are sort of black against the purple, maybe a bit harder to see. But to my surprise, actually, purple is not the only color cauliflower you can get. You can get green cauliflower and orange cauliflower. And I've never had purple cauliflower or orange or green cauliflower. I haven't seen orange or green for that matter. So this will be interesting. This will be a first time experience for me. Now, I mean, the purple, that just comes, as we were talking about in the Brussels sprouts review, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, that's all sort of a part of the same family. So the purple in the purple cauliflower comes from the same chemical that makes a red cabbage red. Though it's really purple, we call it a red cabbage. But anyway, going into this, I mean, I think it's probably best if I say a few words about just the general concept of vegetable reviews. Though if you've watched them before, I mean, this is probably old news to you. It's not like a fruit review, If I review an apple, I just pick up an apple and you can just bite into it and you know how it is. With the vegetable reviews, vegetables are more of a culinary sort of thing, something you cook with. And that's really something that I can't show you, especially as we'll get into in a little bit with the cauliflower, but really with a lot of vegetables. If I'm going to do a potato, I'm not going to make a video sitting here with a baked potato, roast potato, mashed potato, stuffed potatoes, and just sit there and run through every single one of them. So we really have to draw a line and say, and how we taste the vegetables and what we look at. So I don't want anybody to be disappointed or annoyed when they say, hey, you're reviewing this cauliflower. My favorite use of cauliflower is cauliflower soup. So obviously if you're just eating it steamed, you're not going to get the full extent of the cauliflower. Now that's fine, I'm not going to say you're wrong or right for eating cauliflower soup, but at the end of the day, I can't show you every possible use of cauliflower. I can just give you a general idea of what's going on, and it's up to you if you want to go out and try and sort of look for recipes. And that's really where the cauliflower really shines, because when people think about versatile vegetables, I mean, the first thing maybe that might come to mind for you is a potato, because of course there's so many uses of potatoes, of roasting them or frying them. You can deep fry them. stuff them, mash them, put them in a stew, potato soup, all sorts of amazing uses for potatoes, gnocchi. And cauliflower has really sort of come into its own in that, in you know, the past few decades, where cooking has really gone wild with all these cooking shows and imaginative uses for ingredients. Cauliflower is really at the forefront. You know, our cauliflower technology sector has just sort of exploded here. So, talking about cauliflower, I mean, it's just phenomenal, to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons I got sort of a bit more excited to talk about it, really, because when we're talking about cauliflower, it's just so amazingly versatile, it boggles belief, really. You can fry it, you can deep fry it, you make soup with it, puree it, turn it into a dip. It's even more versatile than potatoes, I would say, which is really, it's a sort of base thing that you want to use as a base for the rest of your flavors and ingredients to build it on top of. So in a sense, it's kind of a hard thing for me to review. You know, if I'm just going to take a bite of a cauliflower and say, oh, this is what it tastes like, pretty bland actually. Well, obviously you're not getting the full scope of what a cauliflower represents in the edible sphere, I guess you could say. Because cauliflower is so versatile and you can really do anything with it. I really encourage you, you know, even if you're not impressed with the way I've sort of cooked cauliflower or uses I've put through it, I really encourage you to just go out there and maybe search up something that appeals to you to use cauliflower for, because really it's taken off on its own. It's the perfect ingredient for vegetarians, for people who are interested in losing weight, for paleo people, because you can really do anything with it. You know, I've even seen now they're doing cauliflower pizza bases. So they take the wheat out, no more wheat. And of course, the biggest one, which I have over here, that I think you can get in a lot of stores now, just by its own, just in its own packaging, is, let's see if I can show you over here. This is cauliflower rice. And all that is, really, is just, I remember seeing Jamie Oliver many years ago, I think it was him anyway. All it is just cauliflower chucked in a food processor and a blender and blended up. Not too much, you know. The first time I tried to make cauliflower rice in a blender years ago, it just turned into a dip, into some puree. It's completely disgusting. not to disparage cauliflower ahead of the actual tasting, but at that point in time, no, it was very horrible. So just because all this is really is just finely chopped cauliflower into, you know, rice-sized pieces, and that's all it is. That's all you need. And typically, you cook it. You can just stir fry it. You can roast it, or a lot of times they'll just recommend, if you buy it in the packet in the store, just chopped up cauliflower, diced cauliflower. You buy it in the store for this enormous markup, but on the back of the packet they'll just recommend, oh, you just chuck it in the microwave. Well, what's the benefit of the cauliflower rice? Why is that taken off so much? Well, I mean, the most obvious thing really is that cauliflower itself, a whole head of cauliflower, if you eat it, it's basically nothing in terms of calories. And rice can be very calorie dense. I mean, you know, you can't just sit there eating rice, because you'll become full quite quickly. But rice is much more calorie dense, as are potatoes, than a cauliflower. Than most vegetables, really. Most vegetables aren't particularly calorie dense. So that's really, when we talk about people who are looking to lose weight, that's why cauliflower is so good, because it's so versatile, because you can really use it for anything, and as a replacement in all these things, as a replacement for pizza dough, as a replacement for rice, and it just cuts down the calories so much more in all of your dishes. So I've dribbled on enough, I think, about the uses of cauliflower. I'm going to just jump straight into the tasting of this cauliflower, and we'll move ahead from there. So, going in. just clear it out of my mouth for a bit, because I don't want it interfering with the purple cauliflower here, which I will just taste now. It's quite interesting, actually. I hadn't really... I don't usually go around just biting into cauliflower, as most people don't. I've never had cauliflower raw, as far as I know, in memory anyway. And so, yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but it tastes quite a bit like cabbage, which makes sense considering they're the same plant family and all. Obviously, it's a very different texture. You know, cauliflower really grinds down into these tiny little pieces, and I guess it's a bit rubbery. Maybe you'd sort of describe it like that. Whereas cabbage is a hardier sort of leaf, and it has a bit more crunch to it. So, yeah, really, it breaks down into these annoying little pieces that'll get stuck in between your teeth and the roof of your mouth and that sort of thing. But very similar taste, and it even has that underlying bit of tanginess, I guess a bit of spiciness. I mean, I don't want to come off too white here, but there's definitely a bit of underlying tang, I guess, underneath cabbage and underneath cauliflower, and that's definitely more so with the purple cabbage. It's definitely got a bit more. It's a bit more peppery, which I guess makes sense, because if you try a red cabbage, that again is a bit more peppery, a bit more spicy than your typical normal cabbage. So moving on here, I've just got some cauliflower that I've just sort of fried. There's purple pieces, there's normal white pieces. I'll just sort of try that. All it is olive oil, salt, pepper, and some garlic. It's not that exciting, I know. You know, if you're doing cauliflower like this, you might do it with some cheese. You know, you might put it under the grill and then you put some cheese on top. Very similar to the way people do with broccoli, or you might do it with some nice cream sauce. It's sort of like the way you make soup, but not as liquidy, you know. A deconstructed soup, solid soup, maybe. So yeah, you know, I'm not recommending that anyone go out of their way to buy a cauliflower and just chop it up into pieces and put it in a fry pan, fry it like that, and just eat it. You know, I don't want to turn this into a full-blown cooking channel, but yeah, really go out there and I don't know, maybe look up some recipes and try and figure out what kind of cuisine you might have an interest in beforehand, and what kind of spices go in there, and whether you can work cauliflower into there, or maybe that sort of region in the world that has that cuisine as a specialty it also has cauliflower dishes, because you can just use cauliflower for so many things, and it's very, very versatile. So no, don't just follow me. Don't just go out and buy a cauliflower and bite into it, or just throw it into a fry pan and be boring. You know, you can do so many things with cauliflower. Just go out there, be wild, be experimental, go crazy. Okay, here I go. I'm sorry, I might I might have to contradict myself here because that's very, it's very boring. There's not very much going on, but with a lot of these European foods like cabbage and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and stuff like that, it doesn't take a lot. You know, I'm not suggesting you go out there and you just throw curry powder all over it. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that or anything, but all that's really in there was just some onions, some garlic, some salt and pepper, some olive oil, and maybe like a bit of leftover chicken juices from when I cooked chicken earlier, and it really soaks up those flavors, and it just gives that nice crunch and nice texture, and just soaks them all in, and it can really bring all those flavors alive with that little bit of that texture and that little bit of underlying cauliflower flavor. So you know, again, I stand by my advice. Go out there and be experimental and try new recipes and things that aren't maybe so conventional. But that was quite enjoyable. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect to enjoy it perhaps that much. Maybe I'm just, I don't go out and eat that much anymore, and I'm not as experimental perhaps as I used to be with my cooking. So maybe I'm just a bit more old-fashioned now. You know, when I was young, perhaps I wouldn't have liked it as much, but now, as I'm much more mature in years, getting on a bit, you know, you wake up, your back hurts a little bit more, but the cauliflower starts to taste a little bit better. And that's what it's all about, really. Okay. We'll move on here to the cauliflower rice, which again, all it is cauliflower chopped up into small pieces. Unfortunately, I don't have a blender, I don't have a food processor, and I don't have purple cauliflower rice, so this is just what I have. But we're still going ahead with the review. We've got the cauliflower rice here. You know, there's no reason to just let other fruit and veg reviewers overtake us here, because we're pushing ahead. We've got the cauliflower rice. I'll just try it raw first. Didn't like it. I'm gonna try some cauliflower rice that I've cooked, and over here I have some just normal rice that I've cooked, and I'm gonna try. These are two pretty much identical ways that I've cooked them, or identical flavors in there. So I'm gonna really see how the cauliflower rice holds up in comparison to the normal rice. You know, whether you can really taste the difference. If you're somebody that's looking to lose weight and you eat a lot of rice and maybe you want to swap it out for cauliflower rice, that's one of the things you want to know, right? You want to know, hey, is the cauliflower rice going to taste that different? Am I going to taste it? Because I really hate cauliflower and I just wish it would taste like rice. So here's me launching that investigation. Here we go. Well, the short answer No, they don't really taste the same, to be honest with you. Perhaps I got some bad cauliflower rice. Maybe it was a bit old, I don't know. Obviously, cauliflower rice has a much less of a shelf time than the normal rice, you know, provided the rice is actually raw and uncooked. But I actually enjoyed the cauliflower rice better than the normal rice, I think. Normal rice, I don't know, perhaps you disagree, but I don't think it has much of a flavour by itself, you know? It's just, you mix it in and it's just sort of a base for you to build other flavours on. Like, I do know somebody that just microwave packets of white rice and eats them like that. That's not something I could ever do, you know, when I make my rice, not to make this into a rice review, but I'll put in spices, and even before I actually add any like chicken or whatever else I'm adding the rice to. But the cauliflower rice was actually, yeah, quite enjoyable. You know, you get that sort of natural underlying flavour of cauliflower. I think the texture is a bit better as well. Of course, that's because I fried it and I did the rice in a rice cooker. I probably should have, you know, left it and then fried it the day after. That's the best way to do fried rice. You know, you get some rice, you cook it, and then you can leave it in the fridge, and then you cook it the day after. So, you know, I'm talking too much about fried rice here, but no, the cauliflower rice was quite nice actually, and yeah, it can be quite expensive, cauliflower rice. I think if you go into a store and you buy it just in the packet by itself, like, it can cost more than a whole cauliflower. And for something that you can just do at home, you know, I have faith in you as my viewers. You're probably wonderful, intelligent people. If you've got a blender, if you've got a food processor, hey, even if you've just got a knife and you've got the time, you can sit there, and all it is just diced cauliflower, and you can just chuck it in the microwave. You can chuck it in your fry pan, roast it, however you want to do it. And I mean, that's really what I'm talking about when I say cauliflower is so versatile, because looking at this, we've got a cauliflower rice here, and we talked about all the ways you could use cauliflower before, with you know, turning it into dip, soups, roasting it, etc., etc. But now we're in a whole different league where we're talking about rice as well. So what can you use rice for? Well, people use rice for, you know, risottos, and they use it for sushis and arancini and all that stuff as well. I've seen cauliflower used for all those things. I've seen cauliflower rice sushi, cauliflower rice arancini balls, cauliflower rice risotto. So really, again, if you're somebody that's looking to cut down on carbs, I'm not just saying if you want to lose weight, but also if you want to cut down specifically on carbs, yeah, definitely look into cauliflower and all its applications. Because I enjoyed that more than I thought I would, to be honest with you. You know, going into it, I was a bit apprehensive. I was thinking, oh, cauliflower rice, you know, what's all this about? I know it's the new rage now, but no, it was quite good, very good. With all that in mind, you know, with cauliflower and all its applications, all its possibilities, the taste testing went surprisingly well. I don't know, I'm feeling an 8.2. I think that might be the highest rating I've given. Maybe not, I don't know. But I was pleasantly surprised, and hopefully you are too. You can go out, get yourself a cauliflower. Maybe if you're lucky, you can find a nice coloured one, a nice Romanesco one with all the fractal little spires instead of normal florets. The sky's the limit, really. Just go out there, give cauliflower a try. Don't really eat it raw though, especially the cauliflower rice. Unpleasant, not good at all. Yeah, that was good, enjoyable. Enjoy your day, enjoy your morning, your night, your afternoon, your sleep. Have fun.